And
there we go.
Screen one.
We've officially started. Guys, welcome everybody. Yes, we are officially on the air. Welcome everybody to the very first BTR Art Slam. And today we're going to be painting an exquisite painting with the great Giovanni Panichetti here with us on two screens. I am your host, Lev Polyakov. I am not in the screen right now. And Jules right now, he's taking a bit of a month break right now. He's got to get certain things in order with work and things of that nature. And I'm wishing him the very best to do that. And he's doing really successfully right now. So I just want to say all the very best to Jules. And I am really looking forward to seeing how this artwork is going to be made. For those who will pay attention to the right side hand of the screen, you will see live painting with Giant Geo, minimum auction price for painting in progress, $115. Runners-up get a print from the TFW series. That's based on the TFW No Girlfriend documentary. And you could see that we have kind of a new layout here. So if you look in the bottom, you'll see streamlabs.com/breaktherules and cointree/breaktherules. Either one you can use to go and auction from this 115 price onwards for what is being painted in front of us tonight. So, Gio, what would you like to say as you get started in this process?
There's no there's no mistakes, just happy accidents. I figure I'd start off with saying that hopefully this will be a new series and we'll bring on other artists. And I guess what I'm painting right now is a landscape that was photographed by our very own friend of the show, Shantyman, regular of the show. But I guess maybe I wanted to like sort of go over some of the basics of what it takes to really edit a landscape photo into a painting. By editing, I mean taking certain elements and rearranging them. So I guess really we should start off with your basic Bob Ross lecture of what the color scheme is. Now this is how I arrange my palette. I have your basic, what they call split primary palette, meaning that there's both a warm and a cool color of the three major color groups, meaning red. Well, actually, I don't have a warm red because I really don't need a warm red, but red, blue, and yellow. And just for convenience, I have, so let's go over. I have titanium white, which is obviously a must. These are for just my tones to darken things. I have burnt umber and Mars black. Here I have my blues. So I have cerulean, and the reason I use cerulean is because it's more controllable than, it's basically your basic sky color. It's the cooler sort of blue that's more controllable than phthalo blue, which is like crazy electric. And I have ultramarine. Ultramarine is like your basic. Every single painter in the world probably uses a version of ultramarine.
Very beautiful color.
It's like right next, because you could do so much with it, like right next to white and black. It's probably like up there. Like you really don't need another warmer blue than ultramarine. I have alizarin crimson permanent, and that's permanent because it's made of a hue, because the real alizarin crimson, people don't know, is what they call a fugitive pigment. It's made from rose madder, which is like a root plant. And a lot of the old masters, they loved alizarin crimson, but unfortunately after a few decades or so, it tends to fade. And a lot of those luscious reds turned into browns. So that's unfortunately a lot of old masters painting. They were using alizarin and just faded over time. Then I have yellow ochre, which is my earth yellow. For any landscape painter, yellow ochre or Naples yellow is probably the best. And then I have azo yellow medium, which is for like obviously foliage, and then just Hooker's green because it's convenient. Okay, so it's going to be a bit something to see like the palette and then the board. The board is just straight up MDF plywood that I've treated with sealant and then a few coats of clear gesso. because I really love that like warm brown mid-tone color. So I feel like I'm giving a lecture, but maybe I have to loosen up a little bit. So to start, I just am going to switch over to the painting, and I'm going to sort of see, this painting's good because it has a lot of good edges, a lot of patterns. So we have the straight up the river, we have this beautiful cloud formation along with the trees. But unfortunately, there's a few things that you have to realize translating photography from painting, because a photograph tends to get everything, it gets the highest chroma. So you either have to do some, and I think I did one preliminary sketch just to see the different tones, or you could use Photoshop. I tend not to use a lot of that because I like to have a whole variety of paintings, or color studies and drawings. So I'll usually do a sketch in graphite and then pen. But just to give you a good idea of major sort of tonal groups, meaning the light to the dark and the mids. But another problem with this photo is that it's cut right in half, which isn't a very appealing painting. So I'm thinking, because of this beautiful, luscious cloud formation, I'm unfortunately going to sacrifice a bit of the foreground just to bring it lower, the sky. So to me, it's really more of a skyscape. So you never want to get just like right in the middle. I mean, some painters do it. I mean, obviously, this isn't, physics or whatever. So it's better to just have a more interesting composition that way. Okay, so just to take a bit of ochre and take a bit of crimson to get a nice orange. And because it's just a sketch, you want to use medium, but I'm just using water here. So, okay, let's see. So you want your basic, let's say, do the whole Bob Ross thing. How about we put it right here? So then you basically start off with a sketch, just your bare minimum marks that really, and it's good to do this. I mean, I tend to use pencil, but the problem with pencil is that some kind of like primordial monkey brain just kicks in from when you're in school. And you're like, oh, I gotta write it down, and now they're gonna fill the lines. Like with painting, it's more fungible. Like you can sort of change it as you go, and you can see the basic shapes. You don't really have to be totally attached to like, oh, I have to fill in the lines. So here you have the tree grouping, and I'm going to probably edit out that roadway because I really want to accentuate the lake, which will probably be, I would say, down here. So you can really see it's different from the painting because I do want to emphasize the sky.
Well, there's a shape that you made in the distance which looks a little bit like a mountain. Is that a mountain?
Yeah, that probably is a mountain. Yeah. So I'm going to do this, and of course, as time goes on, it'll be more clear. I mean, it really is kind of something when you have to paint what they call en plein air, which is outdoors. You really have to be conscious of the time. And so here would be, I don't really want that tree there. I want it more over here because I don't want, you want to avoid the direct middle. You always want to paint like sort of around the edges because, I mean, some painters have done it. Like Cezanne has a very famous painting where he breaks that rule. Break the rules, subscribe, share. But for the most part, you really don't want to rock the boat if you're doing your basic landscape painting. You want the edges to be more appealing because you don't want to make it seem like, you're in grade school and like you have the sun over there and it's you know what I mean? You want to have a bit more of an interest because this painting, I'm going to have to sort of edit it to make very interesting patterns and shapes. And I've done that somewhat already in my mind because I am an expert. Do not research. No, I'm kidding. I'm no expert. But here you see this. The what really attracted me to this painting, this particular photo, is that humongous cloud formation, that big chungus right there. That really is just beautiful. I really like it. There will be sort of like little foliage here and there, but really this is just a sketch. This isn't me painting. I don't want people to get the wrong idea that I'm doing some abstract work, although I'm not opposed to doing abstract on this program. Maybe in the future. What mean
Definitely.
But yeah, but so I really want to keep it like when you're starting off, especially when you're outside, you really don't have a lot of time. You really just want to get down the basic features. And so usually people think you start from the sky because, again, like, Bob Ross has basically poisoned everyone's mind to think that we start from the sky. But really you could start anywhere, but just for the sake of filling in spaces, I'll probably do the sky first. Now, this is just the sketching stage. The next stage is what we call blocking in. And usually this happens, this is like the most slapdash version of it, of the painting as a whole. And then as you work, you sort of get more into the details later on. So for this part, you really it's all right. See, if you have a dirty palette, you just incorporate some of those colors, and you really the sky tends to have a bit of crimson anyways, so it's really good just to take your palette knife. There you go. Look at that.
That
just
is beautiful.
Carefree. Who cares? Not who cares, but I mean, you really just want to get in a lot of color right away. You really don't want to pussyfoot around with this. Oh, sorry. Can I say this? Is that politically correct?
Pussyfoot.
But you really just want to like get in as much as you can right away.
Mm-hmm. Well, does pussyfoot, does that mean like pussy as in cat, or the other kind of pussy? Because what does that even mean? The phrase pussy.
I think it comes. I forget the etymology of that. I believe it comes from the flower pussyfoot.
There we go.
I recall.
Yeah, so you are politically safe by saying that, Gio. Yeah. We can say pussyfoot all the time, and everything's gonna be fine. By the way, I have a question about the color white. So my dad was talking about how he's really trying to find lead white paint, and he says that there is no white color like that, but it is increasingly rare to find that pigment being made anymore. Do you know anything about that? Like what's going on?
Oh yeah, because of health concerns, a lot of companies are getting rid of a lot of their like more toxic pigments. I know for a fact the company that I use, Liquitex. By the way, Liquitex, please give me a sponsorship. I'd love free paint. What they do is they are now committed 100% to non-toxic pigments. And so, for example, their cadmiums are now all hues. They're colors that are non-toxic equivalents that make roughly the same as the original pigments. So lead white is one of those things that a lot of companies, they're just not willing to make because of various health reasons. I know that, for example, the great painter Lucian Freud, he went nuts one time because he thought they weren't going to make Fremnitz white, which is basically a modern lead white. And he bought, I think, like something like a few hundred tubes. Like every chance he got, he bought like a can or a tube of Kremnitz white because eventually they stopped making it. So here we have a nice sunset, but of course I'm going to modify it later on. So I'm getting in the basic shape. But yeah, lead white, I mean, acrylic is pretty safe. I mean, of course you don't want to get it on your skin for a long period of time or eat it, but compared to a lot of pigments in oil painting, a lot of the pigment is basically concealed within plasticizers. So you can have pigments that are kind of a bit more sus. So right now I'm just hammering in a lot of the details. So my base color for the background will probably be ultramarine blue, a very dark ultramarine, and I should have had burnt sienna, but burnt umber and ultramarine gives you this nice dark gray color because everything in the distance you tend to want to be lighter and filled with air and filled with blues because later on you're going to sort of make things pop with warm tones in the foreground. That's the basic secret to landscape painting is you really want to focus on the basic shapes, the temperature, and the details really are almost an afterthought that comes later. Because this painting is also nice because there's two huge trees on the side that really tunnel your vision towards the center and really tunnels your vision towards the river. So it really encases the viewer's view to have darks right on the edge because that gives almost like a natural window holing effect. They have a word for it that I've forgotten, but it's basically you're trying to encase the viewer into the picture plane. So a lot of this gray I will eventually use in the clouds. So might as well just do it right now. I mean, I know that's a bit.
So the landscaping works by first starting out cold and then eventually getting warm. Is that something that's
yeah, some painters don't do it that way, but I tend to do it that way because in nature, and this is the beauty of the Impressionists as well, this is what they really discovered, the nature of light itself being not rather, like, for example, shadows. It's not composed mostly of gray. It's rather composed of the reflection of any shadow that you're seeing in the moment. So a lot of shadows, for example, in the winter, a lot of Impressionists, they love painting snow because the snow has these beautiful, brilliant blue shadows because of the sort of aerial perspective, the air getting trapped in the molecules, blah, blah, blah. But also when you have a warm object being reflected like a shadow, you'll have violets, you'll have darker hues of pinks, and so forth. And the Impressionists really were the first to sort of break the rules
nice.
and discover that light was much more than merely a number of darks and shadows. But of course, I mean, I have done works where the shadows are basically dark tones because I do have an affinity for American tonalism. So I'll basically cheat by using like dark tones to make a nice shadow. Now some Impressionists, like, they get really like tistic about like, oh, you can't use darks, you can't use black because Monet didn't use black. But I'm more of like the opinion of Singer Sargent that black is like almost a necessary evil in some respects. So under here you have a warm, but right now I'm just as fast as I can. I'm sort of hammering in the different tones. Like I'll have a bigger pile of gray purple here, which I will then. I'm just approximating. I mean, some painters, they'll like get right up close with the brush and they'll start to they'll hold it up and all that stuff. Me, I want the quick impressionistic painting like we're outdoors to really dictate where things are going. And I do want to have like a little bit of that brown showing. I always love when I see a bit of the toned ground, as they call it. So that will all be light, but I have to sort of put a bit more blue, a bit more cerulean up top, because right now there's a bit too much of a contrast there.
The blue is really pearl-like, like in the clouds you could see with the sun meeting the sky. It's a very nice transition going on there. And
oh yeah,
the cloud itself just like looking at it, like you said, the big Chungus cloud, it has such a 3D-ness to it. Like you could really feel it like a solid object, and you could see the perspective in it.
Oh yeah. Like there'll be some difficulty with squeezing everything in. I might have to delete some trees, but for the most part, I think I can get a pretty good tone just by going with my gut. A lot of landscape painting, because when you're painting faces, it's different. When you're doing portraiture, you have to observe a lot of rules here and there. But with landscape painting, there is rules to the game, but it's much more fluid with going with your gut instinct. I don't know how to describe it. It's like when you're painting and you could get to that point where you're starting to just see a composition come together. It's like it's weird. It's not like a feeling of elation, like you've accomplished something when you've completed a painting. It's because there's always that drive to do more. There's always something inside of you that that wants to do more, but it's like there's a little place inside of your heart that just it makes you go like you feel a bit better about yourself. Even though it's like you're an artist and life is shit and this world is shit, and just something about it just really brings things into perspective. And
well, you're continuing a tradition that's been something in the human psyche. This need, like all the way back to the caveman paintings that you get of those bountiful and beautiful heifers or whatever they were, like those bulls
yeah.
and cows. We've always had this primordial need to connect with the world in this way. Kind of like, I don't know, is it in a way like creating your own version of the universe in a way? Like you are, like God is acting through you to create an inner universe.
Well, that's what Bill Alexander said, Bob Ross's teacher. He said, he was a German Austrian man who actually, funny story, he was led a very interesting life. He was part of the German Wehrmacht, and he also fought in World War I. He was a tank grenadier, and he he said like here you're creating and God gave you the power to create with the mighty brush, and here is your word. You could do whatever you want. So.
And by the way, we have a comment from a couple of people here. So Alexander says all good when I asked about the audio. Aryan Cowboy says king. Byzantium Archon says I'm digging the dual cam, and Modern Hermeticist says Venus X de.
Yeah, there you go. Maybe in a future episode I will paint the alchemical hermaphetical union of opposites just for Modern Hermeticist.
Nice.
I will do that for him.
And also for new people who are tuning in right now, don't forget that if you want to be the proud owner of this beautiful painting that's being painted for you as we speak, there is an auction for this. So minimum auction price is 115 American smackaroos, and you can buy it through either of the two links that you see in the bottom of the screen as well as the description, streamlabs.com/breaktherules or Cointree/breaktherules, cointr.ee/breaktherules. And that one takes Bitcoin or Ethereum, and streamlabs.com takes PayPal. So those are the ways that you can purchase this painting. And for those who are runners-up, when the price gets higher, they will get a print from the TFW series. So, and also our patrons get that as well. So for those who are joining us who are new, don't forget to, well, of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel. But besides that, go to patreon.com/breaktherules. And when you become a $20 patron, you are going to get one of these amazing TFW series prints as well. So what can you describe what's happening right now, Gio, with the
So right now I'm just doing the foreground. I'm just hammering in the basic shapes, and I'm moving on to the foliage now. just the dark background, because the reason I want to keep the darks in the tree blue is because I think I'm going to just blast it with warmth, blast it with light. Just yeah. So we'll commence with the alchemical process of art making, and we will arise the spirits. I am the great forebear of the painters that have influenced me, Nikolai Roerisch, Mark Tobey, the Group of Seven, in particular, Tom Thompson. I had a dream that I ended up finding Tom Thompson's body once, and I actually found his canoe was in pristine condition. I had a dream once. What mean? What mean? As Bap says. So
I'm going to put a link to that guy. Let's see, Tom Thompson.
Yeah, Tom Thompson was truly a visionary of Canadian landscape painting. Ended up dying penniless, very mysteriously. He went out on a trip in Algonquin Park, and nobody found him. Nobody discovered him ever again. So notice how I'm only using one brush too. I'm going to transition to smaller brushes, but for a brush to really just hammer it in, I tend to use like a bigger flat brush. And another thing too, which was really crazy, is that a lot of Impressionism was created because they ended up using flatter brushes. Back in the day, in the Renaissance and so forth, they only had round sable brushes. But as time went on, they ended up creating what is known as this part. It's called the fur rule. It's what actually presses down the hairs of the brush. And so eventually what ended up happening was they ended up experimenting, and that's how you get those large impressionist strokes, because they ended up having flat and filbert brushes and so forth. So that's just a little bit of trivia about the Impressionists. So right now I'm just blocking in a bunch of shadows.
And you would say that he's an impressionist too, right? So Tom Thompson, he would be considered an impressionist.
Yeah, the Group of Seven, they were basically impressionists. A lot of them. One of them fairly local to me. I have kind of a personal, not personal, but the one painter in Canada. His name is William Blair Bruce. He actually went to France and studied with Monet, and he painted one of these. He ended up painting a lot of like the bales of hay that Monet painted, but he was one that brought. I wanted to write something, and I probably will write something for an upcoming book of a collection of essays. But he really brought a lot of Impressionism over to this area in Ontario, and he ended up. The difference would be that a lot of the Group of Seven, they had to try to abstract total wild nature, because in Europe, a lot of the landscape has been colonized by the hands of man. So look, for example, here you have broken color. You have a mixture of browns, and I'm going to put that down in the lake here, just to give a really quick. The palette knife really saves you as an impressionist. It really does. It covers a myriad of sins. But so William Blair Bruce, he brought a lot of Monet's and Renoir and Degas and Manet. He brought a lot of those lessons over to Canada, and he painted this painting. I believe it was based off of a poem. It's called Lost in the Barrens. And it's this explorer out in the Arctic wilderness, and he sees a shadow going by. But when my father was a very, very young kid in the 60s, he went to the Hamilton Gallery, and he saw this painting in a brilliantly dark light. And he thought that it was an explorer that had died in the wilderness in the Arctic tundra in the north of Canada, and his soul sort of dragged along ahead of him to complete the journey. So when I was a kid, my father told me this story when he was a kid, and ever since then I've been obsessed with the Group of Seven. If you are a landscape painter here in Canada, you basically are in debt to the group of 7, and so you really have to take their lessons. Another weird thing that happened to me was I'm not going to dox where I live, but people can kind of guess. I went to my local used bookshop one time, and every spring they have this half off sale, and I ended up seeing a signed copy of this book of drawings by the famous Canadian group of 7 painter A.Y. Jackson.
How do you spell the first name?
A, like capital A, capital Y, Jackson. And I got this book, believe it or not, for $40. $40 because of I had my student. I was a student back then, so I had that. I had the spring discount, and I couldn't believe this. I really the one lady I know that frequents this bookshop. She's one of these like witches, new age type woman, and she said, Gio, I think this book would really manage to find you. And ever since then, I really I felt blessed, So what I'm doing right now, there's a lot of like background foliage. There's a lot of trees and wilderness. And what I'm doing is I'm just going to abstract everything by putting in these quick palette knife strokes. And when I incorporate some of the color, I think I'm just going to do the background with just palette knife strokes, just really quickly, just for the sake of brevity.
I don't think there's anything wrong with using the palette knife. Like, I know it seems kind of like you're just doing these broad things that would take way longer to do with the brush, but if it works, it works, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was the relationship of somebody like Alexander Young Jackson to the palette knife or the other group of 7? Like, how often was the palette knife utilized for impressionism?
Oh, Tom Thompson. Well, even if the palette knife isn't directly being put on the canvas, the palette knife is very crucial to just get that sort of mountains and mountains of paint to come alive. And so A.Y. Jackson would have these swooping sort of colors that he would incorporate. And I think I'm going to do something similar around here. I'm just going to gun it in, and I'm just going to maybe finicky around with it with the smaller brush. But for now, I'm just going to put in just really quickly that landscape, and you see like little beads of color, and it's going to be something else.
It gives really good texture. That's the other thing about the palette knife.
Yeah, the palette knife is crucial for any sort of texture. So what I'm going to do is let me just...
we also have a comment from Hero Alchemy. He says, "Ooh, I'm loving these colors already." And then Hero said, "I've had dreams of places that look like that snowscape." So he's referring to the snowy painting that I posted by A.Y. Jackson.
Oh, nice.
I believe it's this one. If you could see in the Zoom screen, this is the one that I'm
let me go back
to
the there you go. Oh yeah, that one. That was that is the famous one. And you can spotlight multiple people. Oh. Yeah, I'm just yeah, and this is sort of what I'm going for with the little dabs and the little strokes here and there. But I think I'm going to sort of gun in that shadow, and I'm going to fix it up a little bit. So let me just clean off the palette knife really quickly.
While you're cleaning off the palette knife, I'm going to remind everybody, I just posted it in the chat. If you guys want to buy this exquisite painting that's being done in front of you right now, the minimum auction price is $115, and you could buy it through the 2 links below. Alexander says, Papashka Polyakov to do an animal painting stream with Gio Wen. Oh man.
God.
That'd be a lot of fun.
Else.
Yeah. I mean, we are going to have a furry stream coming up soon, and maybe you can paint a furry while we're... I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here, Gio. I don't want to put you on the spot, but... I
could probably paint... I don't know, a furry getting chainsawed or something. No,
Oh God.
I'm not that technical. I could probably paint. You know what I could do? I could do an abstraction similar to the one famous abstract expressionist from the New York school. What's her name? I think she's still alive too. She does the horses. Rosenberg. I can do something like that. I could do like the whole animal becomings thing that Deleuze and Guattari talk about. So
Aman Sadia says, paint a furry's body on stream. So there we go.
That's not good. I'm just
what is her first name, Rosenberg's? I'm trying to look her up.
Just look up horse paintings and you'll probably find her.
Okay, I see. I think this is the one. I don't know why it makes me. I don't know why this painting makes me laugh so much, but here it is.
Oh,
I mean, maybe once you see it, you'll figure out why it's making me laugh. But this is.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Oh boy.
Oh man, some paintings they just get the giggles out of me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think I'm going to leave this wild style. I don't know. I'm just going to leave the spools the way they are, the way I'm feeling it, and then the top will be. Actually, I might have to break out my thinner palette knife, but
well, I do see some purple in the cloud. Like you added this purple, and I do see it in the bottom of the cloud, like this. I'm not really sure.
Yeah.
What exactly is causing that kind of reddish color? I mean, I'm a big admirer of that movie, The Girl with the Pearl Earring, where he had Scarlett Johansson's character look at the clouds and ask like what colors she sees, and she started,
I like the original Scandinavian one. I think I'm not a big fan of Johansson's acting, but
she is pretty though.
Look, yeah, she is pretty. Look, I think the foreground I'm going to pretty much keep cool, and the foliage will be. I'm trying to mimic the hill sort of action going on here. But yeah, Scarlett Johansson. I don't know about her. She seems kind of sus. She seems kind of Drencrumbed. I don't know. Drencrumbed.
Yes, I get that. I definitely get that reference. And we also have a couple of new people in the chat here. We have Hotep Sophia. Hotep Sophia is with us in the chat. And she says, "Hi guys, I love this. I know nothing of art, so it's foreign language, but I support you guys. Thank you so much for the support."
There you go. I'm going to have to refresh my colors soon. I didn't realize how much I'm globbing on here, but we'll make it work.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's kind of I'm going to break out my smaller brushes soon.
So the warm colors haven't made it in here yet, right? Like you're saving those for last.
Yeah, I'm slowly working up to it. Like a lot of those shadows in the corner there are warmer. So right now I'm sort of creating the foreground. I'm going to have to bridge the gap a bit. I might have to edit out a bit of that tree just to keep along with the theme, but just to show the river.
That's a nice looking river over there.
It's a happy little river.
Happy little river. By the way, actually about that guy, whose name for some reason, right as I was about to mention him, disappears out of my head. Bob Ross. He was a drill instructor. So
that's right.
That's interesting that he was mentored by someone in the Wehrmacht. You said.
yeah. He was a tank grenadier. Bill Alexander. There was actually quite a bit of controversy because Bill Alexander claimed that Bob Ross stole his like wet and wet fast painting technique and made money off of it, like a total shameless grifter. And so Bill Alexander for the rest of his life was sort of like embittered by Bob Ross stealing his techniques, stealing his mojo, and making millions upon millions of dollars.
I'm not really sure if that's something that's stealable though, because anybody could just like draw.
Yeah,
on whatever.
I know it's a technique.
Yeah, I don't know, that seems that seems kind of too harsh. I don't know. That seems like sour grapes to me.
Yeah, I mean, Bill Alexander, he lived a nice, full, rich life. He was almost like 90 years old when he died. Bob Ross, unfortunately, died of lung cancer. Yeah, so
R.I.P.
Bill, R.I.P. Bob Ross, R.I.P. to the great one. And some of those episodes were quite. People don't realize some of those episodes were quite fucking sad because one of them he actually had to still go on right when his first wife died, and he still did the episode. He gunned it out like a soldier, and you can actually find the clip on YouTube, and people were sort of like bawling it in the comments, but he was a real one. He was a real one.
Well, he was a soldier. I mean, since he was in the army, he was a drill instructor. So technically speaking, he was a soldier. So it makes sense how he can command that inner resilientness to keep going, even when something as horrible as that happened. But was he also a man of God? Was he also a man of faith? Like I don't.
Oh
really
yes,
know that...
very much so. He was a man of God. Yeah, he all the time with like God bless the audience, and yeah, he very much was a man of God.
And we have a comment from a hero who says his fro was a perm, by the way, and he hated it, but it stuck.
Yeah, he hated it, but he, but then when it became so popular, he had no choice, and they sort of I don't know why his son, because his son ended up painting with him, Steve Ross, or they call him like the Tumblr sex god back in the day because like he had a stash, he had like that porno stash, but I don't know why he didn't continue with the tradition. He should have sort of I guess he got sort of bittered and disillusioned because it just became about making money and shit like that. So unfortunately, I think if Steve Ross were to come and take up the mantle, that would be like the internet would just explode, and the world would be mended from the evils of the worldliness. So I don't know. That'd be something. They're trying to do. They tried to have this new guy on, but after a few episodes, it didn't work. Because, you can't replace Bob Ross. Come on.
No, you cannot. And we have a comment from Shantiman. Hey, I'm eating dinner right now, but wanted to send a post thanking Giant Geo for the honor of doing my little photo. Great lad.
Oh, thank you, Shantiman. Thank you. I think I'm going to make the clouds just totally abstract, not even paying attention. Well, I am paying attention, but yeah, Shantiman photo. I really enjoyed it, and I'm going to have to really charge with the whites here. But yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
There is someone who I think would come close to replacing Bob Ross, who would be the guy who paints while running at the treadmill at the same time.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah. That's somebody who, I forgot about him existing for a while. But yeah, it's Let's Paint TV. Let's paint, exercise, and blend drinks. So I think he combines not just two, but like three things together. And he has this wild green screen background behind him. And that's kind of like my favorite part. It's a very Tim and Eric-like thing to do, where the background itself is just, really bad. Really horrible colored background, but
God.
It works. It's like he's in this psychedelic realm. I mean, for those who are watching, like you can see it over here. Support my mission to Earth. I don't really know what that's about, but yeah. And the funny thing about that background is that it has him in that background too. Like I think they make snapshots of him in one pose, so he becomes kind of like multi-armed, like Shiva or something, where the background captures him in one pose that he was in a couple of seconds ago while he's still going. And I guess for back then, that was considered to be a very, very state-of-the-art effect. I assume many music videos in the 70s maybe used that, and I guess for him, although this was like early 2000s or 90s, like I don't know when or pretty recently I think he was doing this, so I don't know, I guess for him it was still like an interesting effect, so he kept it.
Yeah, a lot of that sort of early YouTube culture didn't age very well, I hate to say, although maybe it didn't age very well because it should have aged better. Like, do you remember that one God, what was it called, where it was like the guy with like the Hawaiian shirt and he was singing something like I don't know, it was like I don't have feelings because feelings are gay and what was it called, I forget his name, but it was like, yeah, it was that type of like more like crass Tim and Eric type of comedy.
I don't remember the Hawaiian dude, but this one I am really familiar with, called The Spirit of Truth, which is this self-proclaimed preacher named Reverend X, who is speaking in front of this beautiful mountain background with a waterfall, and he says that he is God, and that
oh wow,
yeah, but the message was actually good. Like, he talked about getting the lawyers trained in the Bible so that they could go out and help people who can't afford their own legality fee, as he called it. So,
there you go.
Yeah, so there was a good message here, but he was all like, repeat after me, bitch, I come in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit.
That's pretty good, actually. You could do some kind of like amazing next level grift just with that.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, it's such an amazing video. I really think that after this stream, I would love to send it to you so we could like simultaneously watch it or something, because it is one of a kind. It is classic. And when I'm watching it, I do want to imagine that maybe God was speaking through him at that moment, because he was saying right things, but he was just saying it in a really crass way. But it's like, that's
the
that's the shield
of it.
But that's like the shield, that prevents the people who aren't worthy, from understanding what he's about.
Yeah, that gets rid of the normies. That's normie repellent right there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yes, like this lady called in and he said, your thoughts ain't my thoughts. Cut that bitch off.
Oh man,
he was very strict, and I think that there.
I sort of love that, like, early 2000s severity, like I think Wonder Chosen really managed to like capture that with like the puppet they had, or like beat kids on the street, like shit like that. I feel
I know one of the Wonder Chosen kids, by the way.
No way, really?
Yeah, so this girl who I know, Ryan Simpkins, back in 2009 was helping out in a movie shoot where it was her and her little brother Ty, and now Ty Simpkins, very famous actor, hope to bring him on the show soon. I mean, fingers crossed, we'll see what happens. But Ty Simpkins, he was in Jurassic Park 3, he was in Iron Man 3, he was in that scary movie, what is it called? Man, hold on. Let me look up his IMDb. It's a very well-known scary movie, too. So, let me see. Ty Simpkins. But I think for those in the know, you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, Ryan, she... I don't know if she's acting anymore, but she was the girl who wished that her mom and dad would go back together in hell. That was the ending.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a great one.
And
my God.
And she was also the one who was, I believe she was counting, she was counting back or forward, I forget, but it was just like her reciting numbers for a very, very long amount of time. And, hold on, what is it called? Oh, Insidious, that's it.
Oh, Insidious. Yeah, yeah. The Ed and Lorraine Warren. I believe it was one of theirs, but I the first one was all right. The second and third one was kind of stupid, but c'est la vie.
Well, he really enjoys acting. I know that for sure. Like, he really gets a lot out of it, and I wish him the very best in it. I mean, I don't really know what's going to be happening with Hollywood in the next decades. It really seems like it's slowing down, and
now that they're dying.
Oh, that was a nice laugh. That was a hearty laugh right there, Gio.
Again, I'm doing a bit from Ghost, True Capitalist Radio, but yeah, Hollywood, they're totally going to be dead. And like, for example, Robert De Niro was bitching that he only made like $7 million this year. The thing is, you have to realize that a lot of these people, a lot of these Hollywood Molochists, as I like to call it, they really need to have that steady income stream, because if they don't, then they'll just like they have so much like lawyers' fees and resources and things of that nature where they really have to keep going. Like that's what people mean. Like people look at that and they're like, oh, fuck them. They're just, which I agree too, like fuck them. But like they really the economics of Hollywood is a total beast machine that needs to be perpetually fed or else. So a lot of these actors, they're sort of getting piped by coronavirus because they can't go on set and make as much money and profit off of people's hopes and dreams like before. So they're really at a very bad disposition. Moloch, mo problems.
Exactly. Moloch, mo problems. Yeah, I mean, some of them though, like Ty, I know that he's just like really passionate when it comes to
yeah, not every one of them is a pedophile or whatnot, or like just a terrible person. But yeah, there's some actors who are pretty good.
Who are some of your favorite actors?
I guess old school Marlon Brando. I always liked James Woods, and not just because of his politics, but because I watched vampires when I was a kid. I think, who else do I like?
Oh, by the way, speaking of James Woods, have you seen the film? I really like this film. It's also with Robert De Niro, Once Upon a Time in America.
Oh, I think I've seen that one. I think I have.
That's a really good one. It's about like a Jewish mafia that started out.
Oh, like that one. That was pretty good.
Yeah, like with these kids in New York City, and it's very interesting. Like I didn't understand it the first time that I saw it, but they were living in like this segregated like Jewish community in New York City where even the cop was Jewish. Like this, like you'd expect the cops to be Irish or something, but no, this was a Jewish cop. He had the same like that Brooklyn accent going on.
Oy vey.
Exactly. And there was that scene when they were up on the roof with their like his cousin or something, and I don't know if it was his cousin or just like some extended family member, but they were all like taking time having sex with her. Like I think she became a prostitute, and later on she became like also like with them, like she became one of the mafiosos who was like working in the front parlor during Prohibition.
Oh yeah, that was well, there was quite a few female gangsters or gangster adjacent. A lot of the wives, they were less innocent than people like to believe.
Flavortown resident says Meyer Lansky. Yeah, I wonder, was it based on Meyer Lansky?
I believe it was based off of Meyer Lansky, if I recall. It may have been.
Interesting.
Was it the one where he's fleeing to Israel, but like they want to bring him back for a trial? I think that was the one.
Well, that was Godfather Part 2. That's what was going.
No. That was in Italy, but Meyer Lansky was, I believe it was.
No, not Italy, not Italy. You are confusing it. So in Godfather Part 2, Lee Strasberg, whose theater institute I went to when I was younger, he played the role of Hyman Roth, and Hyman Roth was the character that was based on Meyer Lansky.
No way!
Yeah.
No way!
So
That's amazing.
So he was the guy who was there, like, making all those plans about the casinos opening up in Cuba right before the revolution. And later, I mean, I don't want to spoil the plot of Godfather Part 2 or anything, but it's like
everyone's seen it.
It's a great movie, and that's what I know was based on Meyer Lansky. As far as Once Upon a Time in America, let me see. I'm looking at the Wikipedia for it because I'm not too sure.
That was the best line was the one old dude that was talking to who was it? Was talking to Al Pacino's character, where he's like, "Your father did business with Meyer Lansky. Your father broke bread with Meyer Lansky. Your father made money with Meyer Lansky, but your father never trusted Meyer Lansky." Like, that's typical Italian racism.
And you remember the conversation that they had in the beginning of that movie with that politician from Las Vegas, you know, who was more of like this country waspish dude, and he exhibited a lot of racism towards the Italians, where it was also a similar situation. Like, he was forced,
that's right.
He was forced to do business with them, but he showed them no respect.
He didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then when the wives came in, or like when they opened the door, and like that politician's wife was sitting there, and Michael's wife was sitting there, then he just changed his tune, and he was just like this Mr. Nice Guy, as if nothing happened at all. So, you know.
Oh God, I hated Michael's wife. She was a total. Oh God, I detested Godfather 3. I think that they should have never made that film.
I didn't even see it because I heard bad things about it. I didn't want The Godfather to be ruined, so I just decided not to include it in my repertoire. Was that smart?
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not worth it. It's just a terrible film in general. But there's this one scene where, like, she tells him, like, she aborted his kid and I don't want to, fuck you. And it was just really wasn't a good film.
Wait.
Overall,
was the abortion, was that was that
Michael's wife?
No, I know that, but was that part 3? Because there was a
that was part 3.
Okay, because there was a confrontation that happened in part 2 with his wife, right? Like, I just.
Well, he married in part 2. Was it part 2 or part 1 where he ended up marrying an Italian? But then she died in the car
Italian.
bomb.
Oh man, she was so hot.
Yeah.
You remember that scene where she was showing off her breasts?
Yeah, that was pretty. That was pretty big in those days.
Oh man,
that was a pretty. Yeah,
those were so beautiful. You just made me remember those breasts. And what I love about that scene, too, is that you could really see the cultural dynamics at play with the Sicilian family. Because when they were, like, going steady, it was Michael, it was that Sicilian girl, and it was, like, her grandmothers right behind them. Like, the whole family was just, like, walking with them. They would never let her alone with the guy before they got married.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That was really the culture shock there. That was a great scene. Then when she died in the motorcade there, he was teaching her how to drive. So I'm just right now hammering in the background. I think, like, I'm starting to see. I might change the cloud, but we'll see, because I might have to break out more cerulean. But
it already looks really gorgeous.
How are we doing? Thank you. Oh, it's already
just 8
wow,
p.m.
It's already been. Wow, it's 8 p.m. Holy crap! So I've been going for an hour, and I really I might just gun in the foliage.
By the way, the sky over there, it looks almost like a heavenly mountain in the background. Like some shining heavenly mountain, right? It's got that kind of energy to it. It's almost like
there you go.
It's almost like this indentation is, and you could see it in the photo as well. Like the indentation where the trees stop, it's like a little hill, a little green hill, but it's not a hill. And then right above it, it's also like a hill, even though it isn't a hill. Do you see what I mean? Like these two curves, they repeat each other. There's one in the bottom and there's one in the top.
Oh yeah.
So that's
Uh,
that's a very nice thing.
I'm just figuring out where I could put that tree over there. I think I might put it right here, and I might do something. Yeah, I might as well just pop in some light there.
Oh, by
Have
the
a
way,
nice avenue.
I gotta grab some water. So keep talking a little bit about the painting process, and I will be right back.
Sure.
Guys, don't forget to subscribe, and also this painting is on for auction, minimum $115. You could buy it through streamlabs.com/breaktherules or cointree/breaktherules. Both links in the description as well as in the bottom of the video. I will see you in a little bit.
So right now I'm just starting to really shape the painting into a more abstract palette of colors. And I really, my light source, I'm guessing, is coming from there. So I really just want to, I'm probably going to have to mute that. But I don't want, I want to like get the darkest part, which is going to be the pine tree in the corner there. But just really quickly, there's something about the landscape that is forever old and forever young. Every time people sort of say that the landscape is done, it's over with, it's kitsch, the landscape just has an ability to really just pop back into the consciousness of most people. And I think that there's a way to do the landscape that isn't going to totally succumb to that sort of factor of like, well, this is just kitsch. This is just, it's just like a pleasing for the eye. There's nothing to it. You've seen one landscape, you've seen them all. I feel that, there really is something going on there that really is perennial in a lot of ways. It really does connect you to the beyond, and there's something about painting the landscape that just gives you this sort of sense of what Immanuel Kant called I guess you would say, the sublime. That really, there's something inside of you that is calling to the natural world. And the thing is, the landscape, as I've written before, it is political, but unlike other forms of art, it has the ability to escape politics as well. There can be a sort of an ecological awareness, but at the same time, there's something about the landscape that really just lends itself to the primary return to monk sort of condition of humanity. There's something about it that really just pulls at you that no other artwork can. And I feel that this is why I always return to it. This is like the first time I've done a pure landscape with no sort of human interference in quite a while. I think a few months or so. But right now I'm just trying to figure out what goes where. I think that mess of foliage is going to sort of be the cutoff point, and the focal point will be that I'm going to brighten that tree right off to the side here, and that will be the highlight. And so this, I'm just going to quickly pop into the lake, just really quickly, just like that. And I will create a little border there. I'll have to introduce some darks into that. Let's see.
Aman Sadhu says some landscapes are very foreboding. This one looks a little mournful in photo, I think.
Oh, mournful. That's a great way to put it. I there's a certain swaying about it. When I introduce the lights, the ceruleans, I may have to break out a tiny little bit of phthalo blue, just to. But mournful. That's quite Aman. That's something else. I can kind of see it. But you never know these things till they're done. I hate to say it. It's not like the Bob Ross, you could see it developing. This is really, yeah. See, this is really a different sort of process. This is like straight up landscape impressionism. So I'm going to have to spread out the field here, the background. Uh, Eventually, I want the foliage to sort of come together. So let me just get a nice sort of like woodsy, like warmish sort of background color. Put it in. There you go. Oh, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
That's the color I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Something dark just to balance it out. I really want to introduce more of the darks. There you go. There we go.
And what about the more yellowish colors? When do you think?
Oh, they're coming. They're
okay.
coming. Don't worry about it.
I don't know. I don't want to get ahead. I don't want to get ahead of the process here.
Oh, they will come. Don't worry about it. There will be There will be yellow. There will be yellow.
So Aman says, Hero says, I need to get back into painting. There are some pictures I got from my hikes that would be fun to do. Excellent. And Aman says, I respect painters. Very cool skill. If you get the feeling, you might as well paint. And Flavortown.
There you go.
Flavortown resident says, great sky. Really great sky.
Thank you. Flavortown resident.
What is this Flavortown? What is this Flavortown?
Oh, that's from Guy Fieri.
Oh, yes.
He calls it Flavortown.
One of my favorite Guy Fieri images. Well, I'm gonna post it in the chat.
The best is when he has the gun and he's like, "I'm going to take you to Flavortown."
Or when he's committing suicide and also mentions Flavortown.
Oh boy! Look at that. You want quick and easy trees?
Mm-hmm.
Just scrape in some palette knife. That's another Bob Ross trick right there. That's just yeah. I probably will, just for the sake of it, put in some actual, like, thin line work. But right now I'm just sort of feeling it out. I don't want to. I'll probably have a bit more of a. Yeah, I'll just put the dark. Why not?
I don't know if this is the product of me having a dirty mind, but there does seem to be a vaginal essence in this river, just like with the shape of it.
Oh, there you go. There's a slit.
Yes.
There's the
yes.
the yoni, the cosmic yoni.
Exactly, and the trees are like the bush.
Oh, there we go. See, we're getting it. See, this is why, a lot of trads I piss off when I say things like Georgia O'Keeffe is really one of the best artists of this century. She really the vaginal landscape I wrote about I think a few years ago. I wrote about Georgia O'Keeffe, how she painted the wondrous vaginal landscape, where she really emphasized the femininity of especially in the desert where she was in Mesa in New Mexico. There was an artist retreat there. Actually, I think I'm just going to put some palette knife foliage. I'm just going to go for it. But yeah, she really emphasized the aspect of the landscape being a metaphor for the cosmic mother. She really, same with, there's this great book that I have where it's a profile of comparing her, Emily Carr, who is another famous Group of Seven painter here in Canada, and Frida Kahlo. You can't have feminist art without Frida Kahlo.
Of course.
So, and she is another painter that I love pissing off the trads. I do it with love though, pissing off the trads by saying that Frida Kahlo, her artwork was really valuable and quite a interesting comment on the feminine form. But Georgia O'Keeffe, she really knew the primordial cosmic femininity that a lot of modern feminist artists simply lack, because to them it's all about political activism. It's not really about the spirit anymore. But Georgia O'Keeffe was a spiritual eco-feminist, in my opinion, and she really knew about the sacred essence of the landscape in ways that a lot of modern feminist artists, they just don't get this. And this is why I want to bring in someone who's knowledgeable with feminist art, but all in knowing about the art world, but also someone who's on the level. And I think we should bring on Nina Power. I would love to have a conversation between her and my good friend Joan Pope. I think they would have an absolutely banger conversation about the role of the cosmic feminine within the art world nowadays. I think that would be something we should strive for. I think, a lot of this stuff, this is what I talk about with the sacredness of the landscape and why landscape painting will never die. Like $1 Million Extreme, it will never die. Landscape painting will live forever because the landscape is of the most vital, essential importance to humanity. And these people that want to turn, we were talking about it today, these people that want to turn all of the open Western landscapes into this fucking just completely flattened global favela. They want to, burn the rainforest down, just make condos, like all of this nonsense. To me, it's terrible. It's ghastly. We should work to preserve the landscape. Ann Prim, shout out to Ann Prim gang. Shout out to my friends in Ann Prim Twitter and Graph Twitter. Shout out to all of those guys.
Shout out to Serpent Mound.
Shout out to Serpent Mound. Shout out to Borzy. Shout out to Dogbot. Shout out to Hero, Aryan Cowboy. I think, this is another thing too. I sort of wanted to talk about, but maybe it's kind of controversial. But I figure that, Break the Rules being sort of Koliak adjacent, I think that, Koliak is quite interesting because there is this emphasis on not just cosmic spirituality or the techniques of technology and modernity, but I think that there's this weird sort of fusion of ecological awareness along with the awareness of techniques and man and technology. I feel that, Koliak in some ways embodies a sort of weird hypermodernism, somewhat of an archaeofuturism, where Ann Prim and techno fetishists can sort of meet in the middle and create this, new awareness of the spiritual comportment of technology itself when it comes to things like the environment. And I feel that the way they sort of thread this contradictory needle is because a lot of them a lot of them are artists themselves, and they have sort of a capacity for the inherent spiritual comportment. By comportment, I mean behavior, action that comes with being an artist. There's something about it that just lends itself. Now, I don't know, if Koliak can sort of steer clear of many of the pitfalls that have befelled other predominantly online movements, I feel that there's a bright future for them. But yeah, that's all conjecture.
Well, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, the favelas you're talking about, that is not a future where technology would be best utilized. That is more of an idiocracy type future, where technology is actually something that would eventually break down, perhaps, where people would actually forget how to utilize a lot of it because there's just too much chaos, and it's very hard to have a society like that be well organized. And the opposite, I think, would be a society where technology would be valued as well as the environment, where the two would not interfere with each other, but that the best could be brought out of each one. But that's not something that a midwit approach would accomplish. Like, my fear is that a lot of
like
people...
this techno fetishist sort of stuff. Yeah.
Well, so many people are just going off like a chicken with their head cut off, as far as they are only thinking about what's going to happen in the next hour and the next day, not so much what's going to happen several years from now. If a lot of these...
Exactly.
And, like, remember I was talking before about the Facebook post that I made. Again, no reason why I had to even make that. But, again, going back to the idea that most people, they're already set in their particular opinion, and they don't want to confront the fact that they have been informed by it, by a series of experiences that they've had in life, by the people they met at school, by the people that they're constantly around, that they're just regurgitating the same bullshit over and over and over again. And it's like, if that's if that's the mode people are in, like, of course we're going to have all this environmental catastrophe and all these bugmen type situations with people living in pods and thinking that that's a better way to live than several alternatives. I mean, maybe the coronavirus is giving people now a chance to, like, if there is any silver lining, a chance not to actually live in the pods, but get to live out more in nature for a while and think, okay, you know what, why don't I just not commute to work, but just work through the internet, but the rest of the time I'm just going to spend out in the sun. Like, there could be some compromises here where people can figure out whether it's about that or about education. Why are all these kids crammed into these stupid classrooms? There could be a better way of doing this too.
Well, I think, this is a subject of hopefully my forthcoming article on the pandemic, where I comment on Giorgio Agamben's, the famous Italian political philosopher, where he really has some controversial takes that a lot of these lefties have just been mercilessly going after him for, needlessly saying that these global lockdowns, they're creating an apparatus of a rule of exception that is only to preserve bare life, bare primordial biological life, at the expense of all other things. And Giorgio Agamben, he talks about these lockdowns, how human intimacy is really being violated. But in my article, which will hopefully appear in the person that runs this particular online magazine reached out to me, Lapis, I forget the name, Lapis something. I'll look it up. I basically, my argument is analyzing Agamben, analyzing Houellebecq's article, statements on it, and really coming to the conclusion that there is a whole bunch of people, a whole bunch of Zoomers, and to a lesser extent millennials, that are well equipped to handle this. An old idea that I've had for a long time, since the Thermidor magazine days, is the idea of the NEET aristocracy, that the NEETs are these cyber citizens, these netizens, these cyber data pagans and cyber vegans that are going to lead us into this future of total techno-mediated physical detachment, and that basically there are a certain group of younger people who are well equipped for a scenario of like global lockdowns and periodic social distancing, and that eventually the boomers and the wireheads are going to have to figure out a way to deal with technology without totally destroying human consciousness and the human soul itself. There's going to have to be a way of reconciling all of these different forces. If but then again, you have to realize that, what if this whole thing is like, a spook? What if, like, my opinion is that, the virus is real, and because I am, I'm of a certain portly disposition, to put it nicely, I do worry about getting it. But at the same time, I feel that the way that there's these conflicting facts, there's this sort of pervasive medicalization of all life attached to it, and I feel that it's really it's really robbing people of something very intimate and something very unique about the human spirit, when it comes to human interaction and connectivity. I feel that people are going to go crazy, and they're already going crazy. Like people who haven't, like me, people who haven't wasted their whole life on the internet, they're suddenly they have a total rude awakening, and it's been totally terrible for them. And I feel sorry for the normies who cannot cope with life in global pandemic land. And I don't know what to say. I think it's terrible. I think a lot of people are going to lose their shit if there's another global lockdown, but we'll see what happens. Who knows?
Well, the suicide numbers are up as well, I believe, and
oh yeah.
I mean, for myself, like I don't really need that much interaction. Like I've got myself, the family, and just like the outside environment. I think being outside is very important. Amon said that
oh yeah,
he feels most alive when he's working when he's outside working hard. I mean, definitely. Like there
you go.
Yeah, you can't really separate the mind from the body in that sense, and like
separate the body from the mind. That was a Tool reference right there.
And we have,
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
We have some more comments here. So we have, let's see. Okay, Temujin says, "Eat the bugs." Hero, people don't act in ways that are the most healthy, even when they know. They just take what's given to them and then complain about it. It's hard to imagine people giving that up willingly. Amon says, "I have eaten flies while hiking," is not bad. So there we go. They just fly in your mouth. You're bound to swallow one at some point. One time when I was chewing some frankincense, I did not realize, like I felt something like some weird flavor. It wasn't a horribly disgusting flavor, but it was weird. It did not feel like frankincense. Then I took out what was in my mouth, and guess what was in my mouth? It was
a bug.
Yes, and it was a specific bug. It was an earwig.
Oh, an earwig.
Yeah.
They're not harmful, I don't think.
No, they're not. But it was kind of weird.
It.
We did have an event at the National Arts Club, the Dali Ball, named after Salvador Dali, where we did have edible bugs. They were serving edible bugs, and I don't know. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't anything spectacular either. Like the whole bugs thing. So I could definitely see it as being like a very bland existence if you were to just eat these bugs. And
it definitely would be a bland existence.
Yeah.
Fear of a blank planet, fear of a bug planet. I had an article title one time, Fear of a Bug. By the way, for those who don't know, that was a Porcupine Tree reference, the band Fear of a Blank Planet. And I believe they were inspired by the
rap group?
The Heaven's Gate people.
Wait, but there was an album, Fear of a Black Planet.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, I believe a rap group did that. Yeah.
That was. Let's see who that was. Oh, that was Public Enemy.
Oh yeah, that's right. Fear of a Black Planet. Well, hey, I mean, I guess that could be the title of some kind of I don't know. Countercurrent. Not even count. I don't mean to cast shade, but Fear of a Black Planet just sounds like so delightfully devilish of a title.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
That's why they were doing it. That's what they were doing at the time. And we also have a comment.
By the way, do you guys like the cloud formation here? Press 1 if you like it.
All right. Well, I'm pressing. Yeah.
I like how there's this sort of waviness, but that tree, that firecracker, I'm going to put in right about here. Actually, yeah, that's a good trunk right there.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to balance things out, just to give you an idea. I'm almost done. What time is it?
It is 8:24.
That's so hour and a half. I'm almost done. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Because at 9 is the Helios stream. I don't know who's he's having on, but I think I'm going to put in that tree, put in the pine tree. And maybe put some foliage over here. I don't want to cover that lake too much, but I'm basically going to put it in. And I think that we're approaching finish because I really don't want to touch this foliage. I don't want to mess with it too much. I might change things around but I think the warm is basically going to come from that tree. So let me just clean things off and make a super duper. You know what? I'm gonna break out some paste medium just to shore things up a little bit. Now, I usually use super heavy gel, which dries clear, but what I have here is flexible molding paste, and this stuff is thicker than pig excrement. I just pig feces. I just remember this one Howard Stern bit where this crazy woman called up Howard Stern. It was this game day something or other, and Artie Lang, when he used to be on the show, he said to this woman, he said that she was this rather large black woman. He said that you look like a hill of feces with eyes. And I don't know why, but to me, that's just
God.
What can you do with that? Like, what you were eternally owned by that statement right there. You're a hill of feces with eyes.
Well, that's like Steve Brule in his show. The one that Tim and Eric do. He had this one guy on whose name was Dr. Steve Falk, who was an astronomer. And he looked like this nerdy guy, and I think that the way that these interviews were done was that Steve Brule didn't really let people know in advance what to expect. They thought it was gonna be like a regular.
Yeah.
And so he said, right to this guy, he said, "You look like a rat with glasses."
Oh my God, that's amazing! I don't know how they managed to get they managed to get John C. Reilly. My two best friends in real life, they both are huge fans of Tim and Eric. And my one favorite, I don't really watch Tim and Eric, but the one time I watched it, they showed me the one clip of Dr. Steve Brule where he went to a prison. He's like, we're going to interview some real cat burglars. And then he goes, he starts confronting the prisoner. He's like, what did you do? He's like, come in here. I'm going to cut the shit out of you.
That was nice. Yeah, that was an actor, though, I ended up finding out. But this guy, I think this guy's for real. So you see him over here, Dr. Steve Falk? So that's the guy who he told, you look like a rat with glasses.
Oh, my God. That's amazing. That's something else right there.
And by the way, we were being asked earlier by Archon about this Tool album. So there's a new Tool's frontman Maynard James Keenan has announced a new album with his side project Pussifer and Share.
Yeah, Pussifer is one of his many side projects. I haven't listened to a lot of Pussifer, but I do like a lot of it. I'm more of a fan, when I was a kid, I actually ended up listening to A Perfect Circle before I listened to Tool. So that's a little geo trivia right there.
And we also have a comment from Old Burnout, and Old Burnout has been here before. I want to recognize Old Burnout because I think he is a newcomer to the stream, and he says, your painting reminds me of home. BC represent.
Oh, yes, yeah. It kind of does look like a BC landscape. I gotta say, it's got that vibe to it. Let me just there you go. I might have to fix some other things, but I'm pretty sure that let's see if this works.
And any newcomers here, don't forget to subscribe. And also patreon.com, always shilling the Patreon. And if you go there,
always shilling,
always be shilling. ABS. So
till the end of the month.
Mm-hmm.
So beginning in November, we will start with the new $20 reward, but till the end of October, if you pledge at the $20 tier, you will get one of my prints from the That Feel When series, and then we're going to move my prints to the $30 tier.
Mm-hmm.
So. So then if you're lucky, you'll get one of my prints this month only at $20. But then the $20 reward will be one of these very interesting little wooden carved magnets, art pieces that Lev's father carves. These things are excellent. Maybe if you have a picture, put it on the screen.
Sure.
I really love these things.
Let me do that right now. I do have pictures of them, and I'm going to put that in the chat. And I'm going to shoot a video of them as well. And this is the next step. So, yes, they are right here. These are very nice, very beautiful looking. I don't really know what they are. Like, they're almost totems in a way. You know, like they're very simple, but they're very elegant. So here they are. Hold on, let me actually flip it around just so people have a better... Here we go. Or actually, the other way is better too. Okay, here we are. Okay, so this is what they look like. Here they are. Let me just go down. Okay, so here you could see them in the chat. Let me make them bigger temporarily for everybody to see. So one of these is like a fish, like a moonfish. The other one's a squid, and the darker one over here, I'm not really sure what it is, but I like it. So there we go. Let's get back to gallery view. And that's interesting. Like right now, the zoom window, the chat window moved once I highlighted it. So I'm going to remove... Oh, there we go. Interesting. So if you remove the spotlight, then it goes back down. That's how Zoom works. See, I'm still discovering new things about Zoom. And I actually had a dream where I was able to move all the icons manually in Zoom. And, like, shrink the Zoom windows. And you know what I mean? Like, those are abilities that I don't know why Zoom can't just have in the program. Is it that hard to program, like, you know, so that you could, like, choose what to make bigger and smaller and rearrange these screens however you want? I don't know.
Yeah, I know. They have to just make it extra difficult for you.
Yeah. And let's see. Old Burnout says, LOL, thanks, dude. I love your circle of peeps, Frank Hassel and such. I am from BC and love the landscape here so much.
Oh, that's great. That's great. My best friend, his sister lives out there, and he's been out there many a times. But I always wanted to visit BC. A lot of the group of 7 was out there. I'm kind of skeptical of the people in British Columbia, obviously, but I mean,
you know one now.
Painting trip out there. Oh, there you go.
Catherine Brodsky. She's a BC resident, and
oh, that's right. That's right.
She's a regular of the show.
Maybe we can hook up. I didn't mean it that way. I didn't mean it that way.
No, I think people were shipping you guys together in the Kaliak Discord that time.
Oh, there you
No,
go.
there's all kinds of shipping. So also Byzantium Archon says, I like it about the Tool album. I never really listened to Tool before until recently, still going through the discography. And he also asks, how large is the painting?
It's only, I want to say, maybe like, it's even. So I think it's like 7 by 7 by 7, I think. So it's not that large. It's not an intimidating size for landscape painting.
So I'm doing the spotlight of it right now for the people, so that they could see it in its full glory. I mean, I don't know if it's technically on, like, being finished already, but already it looks so beautiful.
Yeah, it's really it's almost, I'm going to have to like do the pine tree in the side there, but I think I'm going to call it a wrap soon. As soon as I put the pine tree on, I may tweak it here and there, but for the most part, I'm seeing a pretty good painting that probably later on. It's a very impressionistic, swaying, like, group of 7. The spirit of the group of 7 has been transmitted to me, and
you've got all 7 Chaos Emeralds now.
I may have to put some of that dark mauve color over there just to make it contiguous. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I just realized that all this other stuff that we have on the screen, it would have technically hidden certain elements of your painting. So when you're done, I'm going to hide all the rest of this stuff that's blocking it, and I'm going to show off your painting in its full glory. Just
there you go.
Just FYI. And in fact, let me do a duplicate of the zoom window right now, just in case. Yeah, here it is. Okay, so
put some green. Now, here's another painting tip for every person out there. When you want the darkest dark, what I tend to do just to cheat, like you can do complementary colors. So, for example, if you were to take two like very high chroma, meaning like there's a lot of pigment, there's a lot of vibrancy, that are both transparent, but that are on the opposite sides of the color wheel. Like I have a little color wheel over here. Let me get it. So if you were to take a dark green and a dark red, but they're both cool pigments, and you put them together, you will create a very convincing black that is not going to be dead. But what I do is like sort of a little cheap because I tend to use black anyways. I'll take some black, but I'll also either throw in a warm and a cool mix. So I'll take black plus ultramarine blue, and that will create a cool shadow. But right now, this color, I took straight up black plus Hooker's green plus a little bit of alizarin crimson just to make it pop, like right in the middle, like the money shot. Like I can already hear the 1990s Attitude Era Val Venus theme song. If people remember it, where he was like the porn star character. He's like, "Hello, ladies," and it was like that really disgustingly dirty jazz music, like jazz saxophone that you find in like a '90s porno. Like that's like the money shot right there.
It's so weird. Just like painting an innocent landscape, we can't get away like all of our, like your Catholicism and like it doesn't matter. We're living in the Kali Yuga. It's always gonna come back to.
It's always gonna come back to the most disgusting reaches of the human psyche.
Exactly.
So there you go. I just want that black to pop.
Mm-hmm.
I really want it to give at least a good impression of a pine tree. And I'll put some straight up hookers. There you go.
The clouds.
By the way, Hooker's green. It's more of a warm green. It's naturally known as the emerald. Like it's more of the foliage green. Of course, I'm using it for convenience, or else I would have done all of my own greens. But here I'm just using it. Just purely for the sake of convenience. Usually it's always good to just mix your own greens because tube greens are kind of redundant. So it's always good to mix. And maybe I'll put some black over there just to create that whole effect. What else? Maybe that other side needs to be a bit darkened. So. And
Buff says, "You're telling me a hooker made this green?"
Well, maybe. I mean, yeah. So I'm pretty much the only thing I would fix. I would probably put a bit more blue. I would glaze that down towards the cooler side, but for now, I'm pretty much done.
So let me.
It's been a pretty good demonstration. So maybe if the chat wants to ask questions.
So I have it full screen right now on the painting. They could see the painting in its full glory. So let's see if there are any questions from the chat. And once again, this is being auctioned off. And if you still want to buy this painting after today, Gio, I think that they could still contact you and DM you, and this painting will be available. And we're working on a website where we're going to be able to sell all of Gio's beautiful work. And there we go. So let us know, chat, what you think. Newcomers, don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to like this video. Share it with your friends, lovers of painting. And Flavortown resident says, "Beauty, old burnout. It's very nice. Excellent. Thank you so much,
Thank
Old
you.
Burnout. And let's see. Let's keep the okay. Byzantium Archon. Vancouver is a lot of rich Chinese and rich Indians. Yes, this is something that Old Burnout said earlier on. BC will soon be dominated by people from India. Luckily, they have religious traditions and otherwise that will not rape the land. That is true, and I wonder if there's going to be kind of like a proxy war in Vancouver between the Chinese and the Indians, like copying on what's going on right now with them. And Fogbrain says, Geo, are you wearing Zubas right now?
I'm not wearing Zubas, but I will be later on. So
what are Zubas?
What mean? Zubas are the obnoxious zebra print leopard pants that a lot of pro wrestlers used to wear back in the day, and they're comfortable as hell. And I think I'm going to go, if I could find it in my size, the Paul Scholes harem pants. I think I'm going to go to the master of style, the master of cool, the master of Lindy, Paul Scholes. I think I'm going to buy some harem pants.
Nice.
So, yeah.
So let's see what else we got here. Okay. Aman Sadhu, very strange. I saw you do it, but I still do not understand how you did it. Hero Alchemy, I was assuming you'd add more yellow. Aman Sadhu, painting is magic. Reminds me of Friendship is Magic, My Little Pony. Hero Alchemy, Pick has very golden tones. Old Burnout says, hopefully Vancouver does not represent me. I am rural libertarian. Don't put too. Aman Sadhu says, don't put too much faith on Indians taking care of environment. We are very prestige. We are very prestige.
He's Indian, he gets to say that.
Yes, he is Indian. I mean, Aman Sadhu. I don't know if anybody named Aman Sadhu who is not Indian. We are very prestige and material obsessed at the moment. Yeah, I mean, look at the Ganges River. I mean, it's.
Oh God.
Yeah. But
I remember one time. Here's a little quip. Without totally doxing myself. I would call him a mentor during undergrad and grad school. My professor who ended up becoming my supervisor in philosophy, he's from India, and he was born and raised in India, but then he went to the States. He studied under the famed translator of Nagarjuna Kalupahana in Hawaii. And I remember one time I did this painting of the Ganges. I'll find it. It's in my father's office. And I showed him a picture on my phone, and everyone's like, oh, that's great, Gio. And then, he comes up to me, and he's like one of the most cynical bastards in the world. I love him for this. He goes, yeah, Gio, that's a great painting, but you're missing something. I go, what do you mean? He goes, you missed painting all of the piles of dead bodies and garbage and trash flowing down the Ganges. I'm like, oh my God,
oh, man.
That's so brutal.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and Aman Sadhu says, old ways were mostly British anyway, after which I asked, what about the Mughal Empire and before? I mean, Mughal Empire and before, though, they didn't have an industrialization, so not really sure if that counts. So I don't know. I mean, it's like a question, like what would have happened before if there was industrialization during the Mughal Empire. We will never know. Anyway, Temujin says, how much would one have to pay for Geo to recreate the metal pole bang?
The metal pole bang? What's that?
I have no idea. I am as dumbfounded as you are. So, Temujin, please explain what that is, and we will find out. Please.
The metal pole bang. That sounds. I don't know. It sounds strangely familiar. I don't know why.
Mm-hmm. By the way, Fogbrain, we are going to do hopefully very soon, a Twin Peaks stream, and we better have Aryan Cowboy for that one. And because I see Fogbrain.
By the way, I think another thing too. Now that you mentioned it, I possibly if he has a camera or a phone, I would want to bring on Fogbrain. To do one of these simultaneous, like we'll draw or paint the same subject matter, because Fogbrain is a great artist. Go and follow him on Instagram and Twitter. Maybe if Fogbrain wants to put his Twitter and his Instagram on the chat. Good friend of mine, great artist. So maybe we could do one of these on stream one day. I know that he wants to come on Free for All Friday. Maybe next Friday. When
actually, what's happening this Friday? The Friday that's coming up this week is I am actually
the furry stream.
Well, no, furry stream is happening on Thursday. Now this Friday, I am actually going to do a National Arts Club live stream for the first time.
Oh,
and that's
so I'm gonna have to paint for that one.
Well, that's a different one though, because that is a one-on-one with the artist Spree Wilson, a musical artist. So that one I will send the links to, but I am working on getting a stream going in the start of the year, start of 2021, because that's the only time it'll be available, where I would love to have you painting and talking on that stream, and I already talked with them. They should be able to handle multiple people, and that should be no problem. So
that's good.
I'm trying to figure out how to give Temujin a wrench here, because Temujin wants to post a link. I mean, for right now, would it be possible to post in the Discord? Because that way, like, everybody will be able to see it there as well. So let me know about that, and we are going to be.
By the way, what I'm doing, just to not waste color, I have a gray pot. I have multiple gray pots where I either take grays or like little broken color. A good tip. Here's a good tip. Well, this came not from me. This came from the famous landscape and portrait painter Richard Schmidt. I believe he's still alive. He's like 98 years old. He is one of the greatest living painters. Really, the only book you want to get, you could download a PDF off of LibGem because it's like $200. But really, the only painting book you need is his book. It's called Alla Prima: Everything I Know About Painting, and that plus Edgar Payne's book on composition. Those are like the only two books you really need for painting. I mean, if you're a portrait painter, then you want to get a book from Vallejo or whoever. But really, if you want to learn how to paint, get his book. He said, all this thing about broken color, a lot of it gets mixed on the canvas itself or on the board, what I'm using here. And you really don't want to fuss over, over mixing it. I hate to say it, the guy is incredibly skilled and he's an incredible painter, but the guy on YouTube, Draw Mix Paint, the way he does it, where he has this scientific way of breaking down color mixing. To me, I don't even do that thing where I hold, sometimes I'll hold up the palette with a color swatch to the reference photo. But I don't know, I really like to keep things loose, especially with a photograph, because with a photograph, I'm really trying to find the lightest lights and the darkest darks, and I'm trying to simplify things into major shapes. So I really don't care about very precise color mixing. The style I do, that's not really my thing. I have friends who are very, very, very skilled classically trained painters, like my friend Christina, my other friend Chelsea. These are people of my group, people that Fogbrain is also friends with, that are very highly technically skilled. My buddy Matthew the Stout, obviously.
By the way, would Matthew be interested in being on the British stream? I'm going to contact him about that. That is happening this Tuesday.
Sure. Yeah, that'll be good.
I found out, by the way...
sometimes...
Oh, go on.
No, and sometimes when you have broken color, you just, wash your palette knife onto the canvas. So, maybe I'll just cut a little bit there. There you go.
Nice.
Yeah. So, anyways, go ahead with the shilling.
Yes.
So I'm just putting my colors away.
When it comes to the poll video, it was posted by Temujin here in the chat. I'm not sure if I should play it or not, because I'm not sure if it's NSFW. I mean, it's on YouTube, but then again, a lot of things are on YouTube, and it's the guy with a metal pole that's attached to his underwear, and he bangs it against this.
Oh, that one.
Yes.
Yeah, I could probably do a study of that.
Mm-hmm.
That was a crazy one. I remember that was pretty cool. I remember back in the day when OG cringe compilations used to be all the rage. I remember they had they had a thing about it. But yeah, the pole banger. Let's see, is it right there? Yeah, that's the pole banger. So I figure this is a good time to wrap it up. Maybe. What time is it?
It is 8:50.
Oh, so 2 hours. That's pretty good for a painting to hammer it out. I thought, I was kind of nervous about time, but maybe we'll do, final thoughts. Eventually I want to do like different paintings that I could talk about, like a specific thing. Like right here, I think I talked a little bit about the group of 7 and like my methods of painting a landscape. And this really, this was really good. This is the first time I painted like a totally pure landscape in like a few months. So this is really good. By the way, I have yet to seal it, but if you want to contact me to buy it, maybe I might get, Godwinson to buy it because he's got a lot of money. But I have from last week, Ethan Ralph.
Nice.
If you can see it. Yeah, there you go.
All right, I'm going to make it a full screen so that everybody can see it. Can you show it one more time? Look at that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Nice.
The gunty. So that will be for sale as well, but I want to show it to PPP and Godwinson. They'll probably appreciate it. Apparently Godwinson is a British son of a British lord. So by the way, I caught a little bit of that what was it on the kill stream? It was Styx Hexenhammer versus Richard Spencer.
Again? I thought they did that.
But they were debating about like Trump versus Biden. I don't know. Richard Spencer's got this like weird convoluted thing about Joe Biden. Yeah. I don't know.
By the way,
weird stuff.
I'm so sad that Jason Giorgiani broke up with Jeffrey Mishloff. I really enjoyed their videos, and it was, I believe.
Did they break up?
Yeah.
Like, or what?
It was because Jeffrey Mishloff.
That video.
Yeah. Well, he I guess thinks of Giorgiani as being more like a warmonger in his positions regarding China, but Giorgiani says that he's a hypocrite because he was always like a staunch supporter of Obama. And think of all the wars that Obama was involved with. So
are they officially broken up? Because I remember John David Ebert. He's been having a bit of a tough time, and that's someone I feel that I really would want to befriend and get on the show. John David. He's been such a huge influence of mine. But John David Ebert on Twitter, he said that apparently Jeffrey Mishloff's a piece of shit now or something.
Oh no. That's so sad though, because Jeffrey Mishloff, I always saw him as being like this nice guy who was very attentive and listening. And it's
he's a lib, so whatever. But
see that's the real sad part, because you have people who I think are really nice people, but if they're just like in this full ideology mode when it comes to these things. And it's like, it's not even that extreme of an ideology. That's the other thing that's really weird to me. It's like, I kind of get it. I get it from the perspective of, because I still have limited knowledge when it comes to certain things, I could see a devil's advocate position for certain conflicts where I could say, okay, so there's this group of people.
It's logical.
Yeah, well, I could say there's this group of people that are using the extreme left to just like keep their sense of order, and it's because they know more about what's going on in the world than you people know. So you know, and I don't know exactly right now what position I could stand in there, but it's like that's the part that I would kind of accept, like the part of the rich Manhattan socialites that vote Democrat, but they at the same time are the same people who like immediately started to sue the city when they brought the homeless in the Upper West Side. They are no dummies. And I think that when it comes to the paradigm that we're in right now, I don't think any of them are like extreme leftists at all. I think that they are just...
Oh, they're neoliberals.
Yes.
They're rad libs.
Sure.
Yeah.
But even there, like, I really want to have a broader perspective of various things that have gone on in the past decades to really get a better idea of what's going on in the world geopolitically and what's going on in the world in America.
If you want to talk about geopolitics, I think we need to get Nicolo Salo on, the leader of Salo Forums. We should also get Amy Therese on. But I think John David Ero would be a good to talk about specifically his book Art After Metaphysics. But here's the thing: I disagree with with certain people like Mike Enoch and Eric Stryker. Mm-hmm. People like I don't trust the Chinese enough to really praise them in any way. I'm talking specifically the Chinese government, mm-hmm. the inner circle. I think they have a long plan, and Giorgiani is correct to say that they're sort of the enemy that they're going to, which is interesting because Giorgiani still publishes. I actually, I'm going to post the photo, but I bought Prometheanism, by the way, Lev. Yeah, you should buy it. I think that Giorgiani, he's still published with Architos, and some of them are kind of implicitly pro-China, but they don't have a huge disagreement about it. I feel that Jeffrey Mishlove, I think he kind of had to cover his ass a little bit, but I don't know. It's weird. I really detest when people who are friends have a falling out over nonsense. Here's the thing, China, they're no fucking saints. The Chicoms, right? They were pretty much in almost a semi-economic war with them anyways. It's not as it's probably not as pronounced as people think, because the Chinese government, there's a lot of structural problems there. I'm not exactly a warmonger, but I do agree with Giorgiani, at least in part, with his analysis that China will be the sort of big enemy, and that rather Russia and the West should come together, and we should which is almost impossible the way things are with the media. But I do believe that it's vital that Russia and the United States come to at least some partial agreement with each other. I know you have your disagreements about this, Lev, but
no, I would love for America and Russia to come together as soon as Russia is able to clean house, and maybe there are other ways of doing it before the house is clean, because I also see China as a pretty big threat down the road. But I don't know.
But you mean clean house by getting rid of Putin? That's what you mean.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yes, and I don't think it would make Russia any less weaker.
See, we kind of disagree with that. I think that, here's the thing. I do I may be irony posting a little bit. I do think that Putin is a necessary sort of counterbalance to Western Europe, but at the same time, it's he still is very corrupt. He still has killed a lot of people, not as much as Stalin, but he's still, he's still
But it also creates a strange, unprecedented situation that, for all the problems that the Chinese are going to cause down the road, it has not really, the poisonings have not really been something that the Chinese have been doing. And when it comes to unrestricted poisonings of leaders, of people who are running against Putin for president, like Navalny, when it comes to again, it's like if someone were to poison Trump or someone were to poison Biden in the election, it's that level of like the major political opposition leader has been poisoned.
Well, the Chinese, they've certainly killed opposition leaders. Yeah. They've enslaved ethnic minorities,
but it's still within China, though, right? That's
yeah. I mean, but they do other things though. They have huge blackmail rings where they send prostitutes up to foreign. This happened to Canadian politicians, by the way, because Trudeau is in the pocket of the Chinese.
Well, that's like Twin Peaks. You remember Twin Peaks had that prostitution
that's right.
in Canada with Pierre?
Yeah, no, but it's true. They send prosties up to your room, and they they film everything. They have everything wiretapped. But the thing is, I get what you mean, but the problem is, I think that the United States foreign policy, they're ultimately going to drive Russia into the hands of the Chicoms. which I mean, it's already happening. And I think that the good thing about Trump is that he can sort of like, maneuver around like various strong men. But the problem is that I feel like if Trump, uh, if the Western media, if like the Bizos, the white liberals, if they were to have if they would have like taken their head out of their ass, I think Trump would have focused a bit more on foreign policy and fighting the culture war at home has sort of been a detriment to everything else. So I don't know what to say.
No,
I mean,
I agree. I
I'm
agree
just
about
talking
that.
out of my ass.
I mean, again, with the things that we've been talking about off air in relation to what's going on with Russia and the chaos that it's sowing in its own way through social media figures. Like when it comes to something like that, I'm not sure how successful they would necessarily be in the long run, but it is a country that I still see is determined to create the same kind of discord that we're seeing in America right now. And I don't think it's a long-term plan. I think just like we were talking before about the normies with like chickens with their heads cut off, I think it's a similar mentality when it comes to a lot of...
Everything's in the moment.
Yes, everything is in the moment. But to Buff's point where he was saying Lev hasn't seen the post-Soviet anarchy that's going to come again the same day someone even remotely open to the West comes into power. So, Buff, what I recommend you do is take a look at who was actually making the decisions and in charge when Putin was first going into the position of president in Russia. The people who were responsible for making the decisions to... completely get rid of the debt, like pay all the debt off so that Russia became debt-free. That was not Putin. That was the parliament. That was the Russian parliament. That was a liberal parliament at the time. So if we're talking about how Russia was able to free itself from, the international banksters and all that, that was not his decision. That was the decision of the liberal parliament. So again, a lot of people, they take the mythology of what they see Russia as being and what Russia portrays itself as being. And what I would implore them to do is see if maybe they can live there for a little bit of time and see what that's like. Or get...
Yeah, but at the same time, he did subdue the oligarchs. I mean, he
replaced he replaced one set of oligarchs with another set of oligarchs. That's not subduing the oligarchs. That's basically taking the money from the people he hates and giving it to the people he likes. So this is not something that again, it's like a lot of this is mythology, and I understand Putin does look really cool with his shirt off on a horse. I get it.
I think I think there should be sort of I think again this would be like and I really do I would want to get third positionist people like Borzy and like Keith Woods onto the show. My one disagreement would be that I do express a sort of what is the one Killstream co-host Rambot? What does he say? I'm a bit trepidatious. I'm a bit trepidatious about. I think it's in the right direction, but it's still sort of like a latent sort of right-wing third worldism that I think people can get caught up in the sentiment that like, the non-Western world is based in red-pilled and not paused or whatever. And so I think that's
but it is paused. Think of how many Russian people have AIDS. So many Russian people have it's like
so I think that it's a temptation. I think that a lot of intellectual work has to be done sort of with right-wing third worldism. I don't think that like a lot of this stuff like you can't just like take critical race theory and apply it to like I don't know white people or whatever. Like you really have to like you have to realize the limitations in a lot of this stuff. But I do think that as much as I agree, at least in part, with the third positionist sentiment, I do agree that there can be a viable right-wing third worldism. I just don't think that like picking like, okay, this dictator is based in red pilled and he's, authoritarian good guy because he's fighting the pause. It's like, to me, I think that's a bit too simplistic. I'm not accusing third positionist people of doing this, by the way. People like Borzy and Keith Woods, they do have very nuanced takes, but I feel that like a lot of the meme culture that goes into this stuff, and that would be a good discussion to have with someone like Borzy. We should bring him onto the show with Dogbot and other people. I think that I'm totally open to this because I do agree with him in part. I do think that it's not like you shouldn't overlook the non-Western world if you want to preserve the Western tradition, but it's just that, this is the difference, I think, with perennialism, for example. Back in the day, like before the New Age movement, the difference was that a lot of like the British scholars, a lot of people that were involved with gaining this Oriental wisdom, a lot of them, they could appreciate the culture of the other because they had a strong culture and a strong sense of identity themselves. And so they weren't taken in, at least a lot of them were, by the way. I'm not like putting a fucking rose tinted glasses on it. A lot of them were taken in by the sort of like ethnic romanticism of it. But I think that the only way you could really take the lessons and appreciate a lot of these different cultures is if you have a strong sense of culture yourself. And I feel that the problem is that a lot of like, especially younger, like edgier, like right wing, like shit posters, they sort of look at like other cultures and they're like, well, why can't we be like them, based in red pill? But it's like the problem is that there's too much like sort of baggage within the political news sphere within the West to really like embrace whole cloth. Like, for example, an Oriental, like a stereotype of like an Oriental strongman. I feel like Trump is like a somewhat of a right direction, but it's going to take multiple generations before we achieve any sort of like, what you want to call a based in red pilled future. Like, and who knows, things could like totally fuck up and collapse, or the globalists could like find a way to like create global favela bug cities, like global pod cities worldwide. And we're, the Francis C. Deck, like secret code, we're totally helpless and hopeless humanity through communist controlled society. And the thing is, like, I feel like as much as I'm open to a lot of more economically leftist ideas, and I do admire people like, Amy Therese and to a lesser extent, some other, people like that. I do think that communism is still something that you really don't want to like mess around with. I still feel that, I don't know, the boomers were at least partially correct to like sort of demonize communism because for some reason, I don't know, it's just, I think some tankies are all right, but I don't know. It like that girl we had on.
Oh God!
That went after you.
Don't
remind
me.
Like,
I mean,
I know.
There's like a gradient of base and red pilled where I think that people who may get it more right are people like the Poles, for instance, or like the people in Poland. Like that may be a good middle. But then when it gets down to, let's say, Kadyrov and his people, like that is kind of a fucked up situation because you have someone whose like tribe is given a lot of money by Putin, and all the other tribes end up getting, shit on royally for the continuation, while Putin has power. And, it's a very kind of like, you could say that's also base and red-pilled kind of life, but it is pretty barbaric too. And again, I understand, like, it's a different, it might as well be living in a different century. It's just like living back in the Bronze Age, because Kadyrov, to his credit, he's a great horseman. Like, he knows horses really well. He can communicate with the horses really well. There's something very admirable about that. But in other respects, it's like, it is, again, kind of like living in a different planet. You know what I mean? Like, there is still, I think that it is still possible to have a more traditional base civilization that, let's say, doesn't burn its widows when the husband dies. And I'm not saying that's what Kadyrov's people do, but that's another example of societies that have done certain things that you would consider to be like in the spectrum of base and red pilled. They would be in the furthest spectrum of that, as far as like, that is the solutions that they saw to problems of their time, but they are, relatively speaking, primitive to civilizations that we could potentially have if we were to find a good balance between these two extremes.
And again, and this is what really kicked off this conversation with Kolyak, is because I feel that as much as I'm, you know, as much as I'm very much in favor of primitivism, I feel that like there should be a system of freedom where people are given the license to exit, and I feel that's going to happen anyways. Like Thomas77 on the Bapcast said that, you know, it's going to happen. Like, you're going to have opportunities in the future for either adventure or dropping out as things get more chaotic. But I feel that, you know, we have to reconcile the fact that technology is something that isn't going to go away like right now, and it's going to get, you know, you have to really like, I agree, at least in, you know, I admire that sort of like FOD Corp mentality of like taking these ideas of acceleration and techno-futurism and really like reviving them for a more using them as tools in a traditionalist framework that you can resist the temptations and the entrapments of the wirehead. I feel that only few people can do that, though. I feel that only a few people can be conscious and use these tools. It's the same with literacy. It's the same with philosophy. It's the same with art, by the way.
Well, I wish that people would be able to use them like that. Like,
yeah, but the thing is, I feel that like this massification of technology has been like totally like has made Ted Kaczynski almost universally right about everything. I feel that like in order to like really embrace that like being a cyber explorer, like data pig and cyber vegan, I feel that like there's only a few people who can do this project of creating networks and creating greater connectivity the way that people, like a lot of people in Kolyak are you know, they're preaching about. Another thing, if Aryan Cowboy is still around, I feel that I've said this before. The Kali zine, I feel if it becomes a regular publication, it would ultimately be good because you really need a central hub, like what Countercurrents or Architos was for the alt-right. You really do need people creating literature and art that can be centralized and into a repository, at least for now, before people can break up and create their own books and so forth. I feel that the Kali zine is something, and I do want to reach out to our friend, the editor of the Kali zine, Leli. I do feel that if it needs to be a sort of a centralized thing that you can give to people, that you could spread as like true, genuine Samizdat. The way that Break the Rules brings people together. I feel that, you know, that's vitally important. But my point being is that, you know, I don't know, I'm sort of like of the archaeo-futurist sort of thing. I do ultimately come on the side of nature and, you know, Kaczynskiite ways of thinking. I think the vast majority of people have fucked things up when it comes to technology. I think that we're giving people this Promethean. I'm not as hopeful as Jason Giorgiani is when it comes to Prometheanism. I feel that the vast majority of people, it's sort of like we need to close the Pandora's box and we needed to close it now. I mean, I know that's shameful and it's elitist, but it's like I don't care.
Well, that's what Giorgiani thinks.
People are going crazy. People are blowing their fucking minds out with technology and the internet lab.
But this is what Giorgiani. But this is exactly what Giorgiani thinks that the Nazis in Antarctica, who have secretly taken over the world since the 50s, want to do. That they want to turn the United States and the rest of the world back into like this, medieval, I guess, based in red pill time. I'm not exactly sure. I mean, it would probably involve a lot of destruction on their part. Giorgiani wants. Giorgiani wants to go the opposite route. He wants to embrace the dragon and go from there. But anyway, I think this should be it for now. Buff, you still didn't say where you're from. Please get in touch with me. I want to talk to you about Russia a lot longer. This is not something that I want to just let go or like be part of like a small conversation or be casually mentioned in the chat. Like I do want to get in deeper and just talk back and forth with you about this. Like you tell me your points, I'll tell you mine. Let's just talk about this because you said that you're Russian. I don't know if you were born in Russia Russia or you're still living in Russia, but I am curious about this, and I look forward to talking with you. I mean, just DM me on Twitter. You know what my Twitter is. DM me or on Discord, and I would love to chat about this. So anyway, with that said, Gio, another beautiful painting as always. Let's do a final full screen of this painting right now for everybody. Spotlight. Here we go. And any final thoughts on the painting, Gio?
There's some things I think I'll do some glazing, especially in the background. But I feel that the motion and the sort of the different lines converging, I feel it's very true to the spirit of the Group of Seven, and I do like the way it turned out. There's some things I would change, but I guess it's a good experience to when I'm doing live streams in the future to sort of like overcome my own nervousness. I really feel that the photo was merely as much as I love the photo that Shanty Man took, I feel that it is a template, and I really ran with it. So I may have to like glaze some blue into the clouds, but other than that, I do like the way, like now that I'm looking at it on the screen, it did come out very well. So that's always a good sign to have this, convergence of light and darks, and the light and darks did come out the way I wanted it to. So that's always good.
I love what I also love about it is that it looks like two titans that are fighting in the background with their mother, the pink mother mountain in the distance there. So it's like we have this guy like the blue purple guy. He's like the older brother, and he has these retractable pincers or claws like in his chin area. And then you have I believe like his two twin younger brothers. Like one is longer, the other is shorter. See, this is like when you look up at clouds and you try to make something of them. Like they both kind of look like trees too, or they both kind of look like they have a skeletal core, like the inside, like the dark inside, which looks like there's blood vessels in there because it's like it's a little reddish and it's brown, and then around it is just this goo. This blue goo that's covering them. So they are like in a fight, and their mother, who is just like this beautiful pink, cloudy essence in the background there, she's just looking over the fight. And the trees are probably excited for the fight too. My favorite tree is the one that's the closest to us. I could see like its little texture, like with the palette knife, the little textures of the leaves there. It's a very pleasant looking tree. I mean, all the trees there, they're just chilling out, maxing and relaxing, all cool and all shooting some b-ball outside of the school, next to the river. Like they're just enjoying the show, which I think a lot of trees do. Like if I were to imagine my life as a tree, I would just chill out and enjoy the show. You don't have to go anywhere. The only thing you have to fear is a lumberjack or, that's pretty much it. So that is my take on your beautiful artwork.
Maybe that's great. That's amazing. Maybe I'll draw some anime faces on there.
Oh man, that'll be something. So guys, once again, auction $115. Well, now I guess the auction would technically be over, but you can purchase this for 115 smackaroos. Just contact Gio, and we are gonna have another one for you next Sunday. Streams that are coming up. So on Tuesday, we're going to have a British stream. Hello, governor. Hello, governor. We're going to have a British stream coming up about Britain, England, whatever you want to call it. And we are going to have a lot of interesting people for that too. Not a lot, but that's a good thing because, we have too many people as it is. So hopefully we're going to have Matthew the Stoat. We're going to have Cow Beyond, Orpheus, Disco Orpheus, Made a Nomad, and 29. Ants, a very underrated film with a Z in the end. Then we're going to have the furry stream coming up Thursday, October 8th, and I want everybody to be very nice and very polite for that stream because we're bringing in...
Oh, God.
Yes. No, we're going to be on our best behavior. Okay, and... then we're gonna have an end of history theme on Tuesday, October 13th, I believe. No free for all Friday, by the way, this week because I'm gonna have a National Arts Club live stream where I'm gonna be interviewing Spree Wilson, who's a really, really talented musician, and Then some other streams coming up. I would love to do some philosophy streams later on as well. We pick our favorite philosopher and we talk about him. And the first one, I guess you could say this is technically the first one. It would be the end of history stream. And for that one, we are going to have the following people. We are going to have, hopefully we're going to have Logo Daedalus. We're going to have Joel Davis. We're going to have a Small Follower. We're going to have Alexander Bard. So that should be a lot of fun. Alexander has definitely confirmed he is definitely going to be on. So looking forward to all the Swedish people coming in for that one as well. So that is it. Any final thoughts, Gio, before we head out?
Please buy my painting. I'm willing to negotiate. I'm kind of pooped after that. So yeah, hopefully we got some great content coming up. And I will think of a theme and a painting concept for next Thursday. So, yeah, it'll be good.
Sweet.
I mean, sorry, next Sunday.
Sunday, yes.
Sorry, Sunday.
All right, everybody, don't forget to go to our Patreon for those who are considering to be patrons. This is a great consideration on your part. You got to pat yourself on the back for considering that. Patreon.com/breaktherules3. If you go to patreon.com for a limited amount of time, $20 and up patrons are going to get an exquisite print from Gio, but it's a limited time offer. After this month, that print is going to be $30 tier, $20 tier. It's going to be a lot of very interesting stuff coming down the line. My dad's magnets, that is going to be one of the things. My dad is creating these very exquisite, beautiful wooden magnets, and I'm not going to post the picture again. I'm just going to scroll up, see if we could find it up here somewhere, what those magnets look like. Man, this is a really big chat, so I think I chose the wrong strategy by scrolling up. Let's see how it works out for me. Okay, that did not work out for me. I actually have it in Infront View over here, which is a great program. Earfront View, I think that's what it's called. It's one of my favorite programs to view images. Anyway, this is jumping to present. Here we go. Here it is. These are my dad's magnets. These are refrigerator magnets made out of real wood, and he is going to make new magnets every single year for recurring patrons. There you go. That's why you're going to keep being the patrons. You're going to get an original work of art magnet every year. And guess what? For $50 patrons, this is just news right now. For $50 patrons, he's going to make you a custom wooden design. What the fuck? What the fuck?
Whoa!
Huh? What do you think of that?
Whoa!
There we go. So
nice.
if you ever want a custom design from my father, Alexander Polyakov, and you could also go to his website, alpstudio.com, to see his amazing artwork. He is a great inspiration for me. Here you go, alpstudio.com. Check out his stuff. Anyway, guys, take care. This has been amazing. Gio, I love you, brother. You are
love you, buddy.
You are fantastic.
Love you.
Beautiful man, and
thank you. You too. You too.
This is amazing.
And hopefully many more to come. We'll bring on different artists. So we're gonna do something great with Art Slam every Sunday.
Absolutely. Sunday. Byzantium Archon, thank you so much. My imagination is gonna grow even stronger, being inspired by the amazing people like Gio over here, and by all of